welcome to episode 25 of Hell in a Hallway. It is your favorite therapist partner, Billy, host, author, podcaster. I said that already. But anyhow, thanks for joining me today. And I know we're doing different type of series, but this time I'm glad you're coming with me. Still having more tea, right? Because again, I'm out of coffee, and that is going to take its toll at some point. However, today we're going to talk about workplace toxicity. So I did a series on leadership and just little tidbits. There's so much more to it, right? I really encourage you to really delve into leadership. But this is more about workplace toxicity, and Lord knows, I have been a part of some toxic environments, and I'm sure you have as well, right? So let's talk about, what's the impact of that, right? So I'm reading this article, and it indicates that 54% of good employees will leave an organization because of toxicity. 54%. It's not even just, it's not even about the money. It's about the culture and about the environment, So what does that, why? Where is that coming from? And it really starts at the top. It starts at the top in type of leader you are and whether or not you allow these things to kind of occur in your workplace, right? You have to determine for your organization, what's the culture? Are you a part of a good culture? You know what? When you walk into a room, you can feel the atmosphere. When you walk into certain work environments, you can feel the atmosphere. What's the atmosphere like? When you step in, what kind of presence do you have if you're a leader? Or if you're an employee, what kind of presence do you have, right? Is bullying accepted in your workplace? Because guess what? That's a real thing. So we tend to focus on bullying on the playground, bullying at schools. Bullying in the workplace is a real issue, folks. And just because people grow up doesn't mean they mature. Doesn't mean they stop bullying. People bully because they don't feel power. They don't feel powerful. They don't have any power coming from within them. So they have to actually exert power over someone else. They have to step on somebody else to edify themselves, right? And what can happen, here's the danger of a toxic environment. It is like a wildfire. That stuff is catchy. And before you realize it, you are being more toxic than you usually would be, right? Things that you would be willing to gossip about, things you're willing to say, things you're willing to do, maybe cut corners, maybe just in terms of your whole professionalism kind of just dwindles and goes down, right? Your environment can be very contagious, and that really determines on what your leadership is like. Your leader helps set the tone. And when you have individuals there in your culture that breathes toxicity, it's up to that leader to make a decision on what to do with that person. And here's the rough thing. Sometimes leaders let a person stay in a position much longer than they should, right? Yeah. I see you nodding your head, because what ends up happening is that now you are adversely impacted and now you want to leave. You don't want to be there. You're a good employee, but they won't get rid of this person who was toxic to the environment, or they won't put boundaries or put parameters in place that will reduce its occurrences. Toxic workplace brings out the worst in people. And then it increases people's mental health issues. Do you know how many people come to therapy because of their work? Lots of people. They have depression and anxiety because of what's happening in their workplace issue. Toxic environments in our work is toxic environments in our souls. It's toxic environments in our mental health. As a leader, you have to infiltrate and disband toxic environments. It is contagious. And before you know it, you have a turnover rate that you cannot manage and control. Or you have a lot of people taking time off work because why? They can't handle being there. It's so toxic. So this particular series is on workplace toxicity, and we have another episode right after this one to talk a little bit about what are the components of that, And if you're a person who's suffering in an environment that's toxic, if you can't get out, which please, I get it. Financially, we're struggling, and so we stay in places longer than we should. Get support, get therapy, utilize your spiritual world, whatever it is that you need to do. Well, no, not whatever, because sometimes that means drinking or, maybe overly spending. So, not whatever. But these healthy, supportive coping strategies is what you should do. Join me next time when we talk about more on workplace toxicity. I look forward to seeing you so we can kind of get a real good picture of what this looks like. See you next time.